on the line! Don't stop! No. Stop! Out here! Don't survive! Succeed! What's up, chat? So from now on, I'm gonna have a speedrun timer in the corner because I have space to do it, and also to just get myself to be drawing faster. I was in really hardcore drawing as much as possible, like actual serious mode for like 3 or 4 days until Dragon's Dogma came out and ruined everything. But before that, I was going super hard. Why are you talking then, bro? Well, that's more for my manga. I'm gonna take this a little more chill today, but hey, Vanilla Gorilla, thanks for the sub. I appreciate the support. You can do it. Yeah, I can. I realized that I can go pro if I can draw 2 pages a day reliably. So I've been recording the hours that I've actually been drawing per day, and then like how quickly it's taking me to draw 1 page, basically. Because the truth is, I'm like, I work so hard, but in reality I rarely draw more than 8 hours per day, ever. So I'm basically not even working 40 hours a day. I mean, it depends on page to page how long it takes, so I just started recording it, but too much time is the answer. So I basically have to get used to figuring out what things I can cut from my comic pages and what things I am going to spend time on. But in Japan, a monthly series is somewhere around between 45 pages a month to about 60 pages a month. So I'm never gonna fucking even think about doing anything weekly, but I think I can do like 40 pages a month if I have an assistant, depending on what I'm drawing. If I get faster. Yeah, you have to hire assistants. learn techniques to speed up things. Yeah, don't try to like draw everything as part of it. If you look at Hunter x Hunter, for example, which is what I'm looking at the most when drawing my manga, like even the ones where that aren't infamous for basically being posted in storyboard form, he's still not drawing much details. Togashi gets away with drawing very little details in Hunter x Hunter. And a lot of his details, he just uses big black spaces. How is Dragon's Dogma 2? So I was all like, I'm such a serious artist right now. Which is why I'm only going to play Dragon's Dogma 2 for a very small amount of time. Perhaps I'll just play Dragon's Dogma 2 for 30 minutes and then go back to my serious business of being a professional mangaka. And it's like, huh, that's strange. It's been 12 hours. How did that happen? Curious. Curious, Arisen. There is not time. Sphinx titties. Oh, I was wandering around the map and I encountered the Sphinx. It's truly a amazing chest-to-head moment. It's like, oh god, it's her. I've fucking encountered her. She really is off in the corner of a location, and you're not gonna find her if you're not exploring. It's pretty awesome. She's incredibly hot. Especially if you encounter her at a relatively low level and you're like really confident that if you try and fight her or if you get the riddle wrong, she's gonna murder you. That makes her extremely hot. You can sort of walk around her area and she sort of looks at you sternly the entire time. Female looking down at you sternly is a new fetish. Can we see her? You'll have to play the game yourself. I'm not gonna spoil the best moment in the game for people who are still playing it, considering it just went on sale like a day ago, so. Solve my riddles and I will grant thee access to yon chest. Everyone's complaining about the microtransactions and the bad performance, but the true thing that we should really be concerned about is the lack of nipples. Everybody playing on PC, make sure that the modders install the nipple mod as soon as possible. Having all these exposed breasts with no nipples is like having a strawberry shortcake with no strawberry on top. It's absolutely unacceptable. Love Hina nonsense, yes. Love Hina lack of nipples was also troubling. Ball is Sag, there are no Sphinx nips to suckle on. Maybe they're like magically hidden, and if you just lick them hard enough, lick the boobs long enough, the nipples will emerge. So are they innies? There's nothing there, unfortunately. But I'm just gonna believe that they're flesh-colored innies. Or maybe like they're like one of those lizard dicks. When she gets ready, they become exposed or something, I don't know. Also, it's pretty crazy how, like, I'm not a furry or zoophilia or anything like that, but when there's like a female body attached to the upper body or the lower body of a lion, somehow like that lion ass starts to look really juicy. You're like, oh, yeah, look at that. Lioness body, lower body, suddenly starts to look extremely fuckable. Answer my riddle 3 to have my nipples presented to thee. Her riddles are pretty good too. I'm not gonna spoil them, but I'm thoroughly enjoying the game. Everybody who's saying that Dragon's Dogma is like unplayable or disappointment, I don't think they're either like the PC gamers who absolutely have to have their 500 frames per second at all times, or they're just not playing the game and being on Twitter. Dragon's Dogma is really good. It's good in all the ways that matter in terms of like the core experience. And by all the ways that matter, I mean wanting to have sex with Monster Woman, of course. They just want to complain about something. The microtransaction complaints seems particularly off in terms of like general complaints. Like in the broad scheme of things, it's like compared to the modern AAA game released in the Western market, it's basically non-existent. You can't even buy the microtransaction items in the game. Like, not only do they not give you like the Ubisoft style pop-ups where they're constantly reminding you to buy their secondary currency and shit, or like Diablo 4, where apparently like there's a pop-up where if you're not being careful where you click, it'll just be like, waste $50. Oh shit, I clicked on it. Unrefundable. There's basically no way to buy the microtransactions if you're just playing normally. I think you need to go to like the separate page. So yeah, on a modern scale of microtransactions, it's basically non-existent. Had one in a castle in the desert and was pissed that the PCs not only answered the riddles but sunk the castle further. God, I hope that the Sphinx in Dragon's Dogma is a romance option. Please, please let me copulate with the monster. I have no idea what we're talking about here. The Overwatch drama has been more infuriating. People have been pissed on Twitter at Dragon's Dogma for some reason, when it's a perfectly good game. I would even say that it's one of the best games, I don't know, of the last like 5 or 6 years probably. I would rank it only slightly below Elden Ring in terms of like open world fantasy RPGs on that scale. They're going to be compared, of course, so... I mean, do you think microtransactions are testing ground to see what they can get away with? The thing is, the Capcom games have had those same microtransactions for the last, like, 20 years or so. They had those microtransactions in Monster Hunter, they had the microtransactions in Devil May Cry. Like, they always have the same level of microtransactions, and that hasn't changed at all. So all the people complaining about it now just didn't notice. They always have these very small microtransactions for the current in-game currencies that you can earn extremely easily in-game. So they're basically, only idiots buy them. And they've had that for a really long time now. I went back to my library on Steam from Capcom. You're right, just never paid them any mind. If you just go directly into the game, you can't really find the microtransactions at all. As someone who has played like a Ubisoft game or Destiny or something recently, and it's like, hey, did you know? Every time you open the fucking game in Modern Warfare, or not Modern Warfare, I'm playing Black Ops, and they're like, hey, do you want to buy our new currency? Do you want to buy our new game? Like, every time you fucking open the game, every single fucking time, they're like, do you want to spend more money? And Dragon's Dogma, you can't find any of that. Even if you wanted to buy it, you can't find it, so it's hardly a proper capitalistic endeavor by Capcom. Guys, when does the next season of my favorite show, RWBY, come out? I can't stand to wait much longer. To be fair, they're probably going to sell the IP, so you might get a neutered version of it in the future. Who knows? Or it might get bought out by one of those soulless asset holding companies, like the company that bought out Sports Illustrated and is like, going forward, we're going to respect the Sports Illustrated brand by having Sports Illustrated brand casinos, online betting things, and then we're also going to get rid of the magazine. So who the fuck knows what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be too optimistic, of course. No. Fucking Embracer nuking the next Deus Ex. We should be asking for new video games and new ideas and new IPs instead of having the same thing retread a million times. Dragon's Dogma notwithstanding. Where will I get my fix of weightless, floaty-ass 3D anime fights now? Luckily, Square Enix has not gone bankrupt yet. So, if they give you a Final Fantasy VII Advent Children movie Part 2, you'll get the giga floaty fights that you deserve, without a doubt. Make new shit? Yeah. The whole problem is companies are too worried about being safe and being like, as long as we have this IP, people will continue to buy the IP. And it works for a while, and then they trash their IP, and then no one buys the IP anymore, i.e. Star Wars, Diablo, all these things. Because people realize, oh wait, just because it has the same name as your favorite restaurant, they're not serving the same hamburger anymore. Instead, the hamburger is full of, like, dead rats. It doesn't taste the same anymore. It works until they milk it dry. Yeah, we're in, like, the terminal stage of a lot of these IPs right now. Star Wars being the most obvious one, where most of the content about it is now anti-Star Wars fans who used to be Star Wars fans just laughing at the state of the situation. It's actually pretty shocking how quickly Disney was able to bleed some of their IPs dry, considering, like, Star Wars was the most valuable IP ever, and then they're like, yeah. As soon as it takes like a few releases for people to realize that the people in charge aren't the same people in charge, and they're not going to get the same product anymore. But yeah, you can't fool everybody forever. My poor Diablo, the story ended at 2 for me, except for Imperius. He should stay canon. Who in here actually plays Diablo? any of the Diablos. Because, like, I know there's a huge... I wasn't a PC gamer when Diablo 2 was at its peak and, like, people, you know, wasted their entire life and dropped out of college just so they could run the slot machine. So I don't understand why Diablo 2 is so special, but I guess it's like the balancing of the randomness in a way that the other 3 and 4 weren't able to do, right? This ain't Dragon's Dogma 2. I might play some Dragon's Dogma 2 in the second half of the stream, but I have to get back to drawing. Also, I kind of feel like I don't want to spoil it. I know there's like a million people streaming it anyways, but it actually feels good enough that, like, I feel like if you're interested in it, I'd rather you just play it. Which is my way of saying that I recommend it immensely. You gotta let them go. I never watched a single episode of RWBY, so there's nothing for me to let go. Hasbro, D&D, fans getting the boot. The good thing about D&D is it's create your own adventure, and Hasbro just provides the framework, right? So there's nothing from stopping you from taking the pre-existing rules and stuff and producing your own content. Like, they can't control you. It's not like all the other Star Wars and Disney shit where, you know, you can't make your own fucking Star Wars movie, but you can make your own D&D campaign, so that's actually way better. Wasn't MTG also fucked by their company too? Yeah, the people who are like, I invested in my MTG card collection right now. I don't know what's happening to the card market, but I can't imagine that it's good. I think shit is crashing right now. They actually tried to, yeah, but they can't. Like, no matter how many lawyers they can have, they can't possibly go around suing everybody who's running their own D&D campaign. Also, I don't care if Critical Role gets fucked over. I didn't like their shit, so it doesn't really bother me one way or the other. Find it funny how everyone is just claiming whatever RWBY character as their own or joking about bidding for them? Is that something that's happening among the fan base right now? It's something that I really don't follow at all. I haven't watched anything from Rooster Teeth my entire life. I just vaguely know about it in the ether. Okay, this Mario music is too chill. I'm gonna fucking pass out. I'm gonna fall asleep. If the YouTube channel says work BGM, falling asleep BGM, that's not what you want to be listening to. Hype mix. 6 hours of metal, no vocals. I think this is probably going to be copyrighted. Game hype mix. Lo-fi beats to get cock and ball tortured to gachi bass. People started making jokes about taking the RWBY characters. To be fair, all of the RWBY characters just seem like OC Do Not Steal to begin with, so there's nothing weird about that. It's kind of what you would expect. I mean, the main character has a fucking scythe and she wears red and black, for fuck's sake. She's basically the Shadow the Hedgehog of anime girls. It's cringe as hell. Those are some pretty fantastic looking thighs. She's wearing the 2B outfit. You know, outfits that have a strong track record of Coomers appreciating them. These legs are a little too long. Half, half. No slingshot bikini. I might give her a slingshot bikini. I haven't really figured it out yet. She will be getting a high cut leotard one way or the other. How big are Ruby's boobs? Actually, it doesn't matter. We're going full porn proportions here, so they get to be 40% increase from canonical body type. Though I want to keep the body balance to not overshadow the thighs. I want to see Maria die on screen. Are you talking about the Silent Hill movie? Literally every stream we have Hystrixia being like, I can't wait for horrible shit to happen in the Silent Hill franchise. What drives her toward misery so? No, Shadow the Hedgehog? Is there a character called Maria? Sonic Adventure movie? I wonder if they're gonna just like ignore Shadow now that the Sonic movies are successful. Everyone's like, oh my god, Knuckles showing up! You know that there's like a certain demographic that grew up in the 2000s who's like, I fucking love Shadow the Hedgehog! Oh my god! Hedgehogs with guns! It's everything I wanted! Maria was Shadow's friend who gets shot and she was like 9. Shadow the Hedgehog, Maria death. Looks like Alice in Wonderland. Like the Disney Alice in Wonderland.
I beg of you, please.
Maria! Maria!
For all the people on the planet.
This is so weird.
Shadow.
Sayonara.
Shadow. I beg of you, please. Do it for me.
It was a different time, you guys. The anime version? Holy shit. MP5. I always love it when like... Yamero! It looks like a Pokemon character. They look like the Pokemon Studio animation. Yamero! I just... Holy shit, war crimes. It's a little late. Are they gonna show her death like 5 times? Yeah. She gets killed in his flashback so many times. This is great content, by the way. Is this when Shadow became the edgelord that he is? It's a big plot point for Shadow. It's the equivalent of Bruce's parents getting murdered outside the opera house a million times. Everyone's like, hey Bruce, why did you decide to become Batman? Let me have another flashback. I was a kid. We were at the opera. My mother's pearls. No, Martha! No! You love to see it? Yes, let's watch Batman movie remake number 800. But why did he become Batman, guys? I've forgotten recently. Let's see the fucking opera house again. They have their way with the mother before shooting her in the face. They never really do that shit. It's always like, no! And then they always show the fucking pearls falling onto the alleyway. Every single time. I bet they were fake pearls. Nah, the Waynes would never have fake pearls. How could you have so much slander? Martha's pearls in slow-mo. You have to have slow-mo. How will you understand Bruce's trauma if he doesn't see the pearls dropping? The necklace has to come off, and then it has to fall to the pavement in slow motion, and then the pearls have to, like, break off the necklace and, like, roll around. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe my parents are dead! Oh! They show her pearls and they never take them. They're always like, hey man, what the fuck have you done? Get out of here! Oh man, the cops are coming. Why did you wax them, dude? Also, 99% of the time they have to be white. Definitely can't have black robbers. It's pretty damn hard to pick up all those pearls in the dark alley, to be fair. Also, you can't have them, like, murder Bruce, so they're not gonna stick around. Did you see Blue Archive Sensei appearance reveal thoughts? Isn't Sensei like the guy who looks like this? They always like draw him in the doujins going bald, and then also having like the doodle face, and then like having Giga body, which he uses to dominate his teachers, or not his teachers, his students. Gotham clearly is not New York. In every single one of the superhero franchises, there's like 8 New Yorks. Metropolis is New York. Gotham is New York, except there's more crime. Spider-Man is in New York, actual New York. Daredevil is in New York. Or was he in Hell's Kitchen? Is Hell's Kitchen in New York or was that Chicago? I think that was also New York. Gotham is modeled after Chicago. Yeah, but it definitely it might have been modeled after Chicago in some versions, but it most definitely becomes New York. Chicago doesn't have that many big-ass buildings. Because, like, you need to have Arkham to be like an island, right? Like Rikers. Isn't Arkham Asylum always like Rikers? So it's definitely New York in most versions of Batman. They really need a Batman in New York. There is Batman in New York. Look at all the weirdos dressing up on the subway. If Batman was actually in New York, New Yorkers would be like, oh, it's another psycho, as usual, and they just ignore it and go on their way. Because if there's one thing that New York City people are used to, it's being surrounded by freaks. Gotham is based in Boston. It definitely is not. Will homophobic Ruby get mentioned in this comic? Yes. This is probably the last time I'll be drawing her, so probably should get all the jokes out the window. Imagine driving the Batmobile in Boston. Is Boston traffic that bad? I heard that they were trying to do, like, construction of the subway for, like, a decade or something. And they were trying to get the Olympics to Boston, and if they had succeeded, it would have been one of the largest logistic nightmares of the century. What's your fit when you go out? I only have like one pair of clothing. I wear cargo pants and like a sweatshirt and t-shirts, and that's all I have. I don't have things like fits. I just have the bare necessity of clothing to cover my body and not get arrested. Alright guys, I have to go take a piss. Enjoy your 1 minute of commercials. I'll be back in a minute. Gotta pee right now. Ruby smut will live on forever. Thank God. What would we do without porn of this very specific 3D animated show on the internet? If only there was more porn on the internet, guys. Alas. Seeing Ruby with those big honkers makes me think she resorted to getting implants and wear Coomer cosplay in her OnlyFans just to get by. That's the joke. If only they had done that earlier, they wouldn't have gone bankrupt. I want to listen to some Ace Combat. Is there an Ace Combat mix? Ace Combat playlist. I was actually replaying Ace Combat 7 before Dragon's Dogma came out. I can only go so long before I can hear the soothing sound of missile, 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 pull up, pull up, pull up. You know, if I don't get my Ace Combat fix every once in a while. If only they had Blake start throwing it back with their mom. I didn't even notice Ruby porn until all the Blake and her mother stuff started coming out. People really, really want Oyakodon content from their anime. They're just like, daughter, I sleep. Daughter with hot MILF mother. Real shit. Gotta show the mom teaching the next generation how it's done. I like it in Oyakodon porn where the mother presents her daughter to the guy and shows her how to do it properly, and then when the daughter like pukes out the 6 liters of cum that came out of his dick, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. My daughter did not properly swallow. Honey, how could you do it? That's so disrespectful. You swallow that cum now." That's always funny. I also like the opposite version where the daughter's like, "Mom, stop having sex with my boyfriend." And she's like, "Ara ara. It looks like I'm still a desired female. Mom, stop it. Stop fucking my boyfriend now." When I listen to Ace Combat soundtrack, I'm reminded that despite all our fixation on relationships between men and women. There's only one true pure love, and that's the love between a man and his rival pilot as you fly around in the sky, engaging in hot, steamy dogfights, screaming each other's name. Women will never understand. Maverick, the biggest problem why Top Gun, a beloved plane franchise and mecha franchise, if you look at it that way, what it's lacking is a true rival between Maverick on the Soviet side, who they know on a personal level, and when they get into dogfights have to scream each other's name. Instead, they have to make do with his relationship with his co-pilot, who is dead. Spoilers. I mean, that's what's so good about Ace Combat Zero, right? You get your wingman. Hey, buddy. Also reminds me of the biggest problem I have with Western video games right now, is that they don't do the narrative where they're like, they set up everything to make you, the player, feel awesome anymore. Have you noticed that? It's always like, side characters do this, side characters do that. Whereas back in the good old days, well, I don't know about Western games, but Japanese games, they were always like, look at everything, the world is being destroyed, and there's only one person, you, John Ace Combat, who can save us and turn the tide of the war. And while you're flying around, people are like, by God, he's the demon, he's real. I am in awe. I imagine that's what Dragon's Dogma is going to become soon. You start Dragon's Dogma as being like a prisoner, but I'm pretty sure you're going to fucking end as like the rightful king of the country. And everyone's going to bow down to your giant arisen cock. I can feel it coming. I mean, the pawns already do it for you, although the NPCs don't do it. The pawns are already like, I feel no more joy than when I am at your side, Arisen. Arisen, please forgive me. I hope I have not disappointed you. It's like, that's right, woman. It happens really fast in Dragon's Dogma 2, literally in like the first few hours. Maybe the first few hours if you're properly doing the main story quest. But me being a Skyrim player, I'm out in the fucking wilderness, just dicking around, not touching the story quest at all. So you can imagine that I'm like, 15 hours in, and yeah, I always delay story quests. The first thing I do when I'm playing a game, it's like, oh god, I have to get all the abilities and items and stuff like that. Which often results in me being too overpowered and shit, but I can't help myself. The good thing about Dragon's Dogma is that they have all these brokenly overpowered enemies still around. So even when you're just murdering shit, and then you're like, oh god, I'm so powerful now. I'm gonna go and try and fight that dragon standing around there in the forest. It's time. And then you walk up to the dragon and he like fucking wipes you with one blow and you're like, no, 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 it's not time. It's not time. I'm leaving. Oh shit, get out of there. Narrative games in the era of phone pachinkos. But I'm talking about like Western games. Like, I don't know, like I was playing Far Cry 6 last year because it was on sale. And like all the narrative is like, you go to, it's the GTA style thing where you go to the mission hub, you get the mission from the guy, and the guy is like, hey, MC, I'm so crazy, I'm loco, look at me do wacky things. And they're like, oh man, that NPC quest giver is sure wacky. It's like, I don't fucking care, right? I'm the one who's supposed to be wacky and crazy. I'm the one who's going to be do crazy shit. I don't care if the NPC is wacky. The last good Far Cry was Far Cry 4. Yeah, and even that, like, the map was kind of meh. There were some parts about it that I liked, but I actually think 5 was pretty good. It could have been better. I feel like all the Far Cries until 6 were at least worth like $20, which is why I would buy them on sale, because they would always go sale after a year, and it would always be like $15, $20. So I bought Far Cry 6 for like $20 as well. I was like, similar Far Cry, just gonna walk around and shoot stuff and enjoy looking at the scenery kind of game. And man, it is kind of, it's really bland. It's bland in a way that's hard to explain, but it feels like they didn't properly play test the game to understand what kind of experience you were getting as a character, as a player. That's the thing about Dragon's Dogma, is that there's a lot of things you can complain about it, but I'm very sure that they play tested it a lot. I'm very sure that all of the Capcom games get a lot of play testing, which is really the most important thing, right? You have to replay your game a lot to make sure it's fun. Dragon's Dogma commissions started rushing in. We'll see in the future. Most OC commissions come from Final Fantasy XIV players. They're like, this is my cat boy. Please show him getting fucked in the ass. I'm like, sure. Far Cry 2 is the best. I agree with that. We need more games set in Africa. Africa, you crazy? SA, you gonna get canceled, amigo? That kind of is the problem. You can't shoot black people without having a bunch of game journalists, LOL, being like, how could you possibly shoot black people? Meanwhile, actual black people don't give you a single fuck about, playing games set in Africa where you get to shoot black people, but game journalists are gonna try and fucking cancel you, so... getting nauseous while some random dude starts blasting with his 40-year-old AKM. It was Kino. The explosions and like wildfires and stuff was Kino. Also, your guns would age rapidly, like they were like those Saving Private Ryan memes of Matt Damon. You'd be like in the middle of a firefight, and your gun will be going from like a normal AK to an AK covered in rust in like 5 seconds. You're like, what the fuck is going on? What if you shot at white Rhodesians? I wonder if people are gonna... I guess Russians are the new default. We've gone full circle, guys. We're back in the 90s or 80s when Russians were... it was acceptable to hate the Russians. So going forward, all our video game villains are going to be Russians again, I guess. That or they're still going to be set in World War II and we're going to get the Nazis or something. I always use the Brazilian in Far Cry 2. What was the name of the tranquilizer sniper rifle? I remember relying on that a ton because despite me giving zero fucks about being non-lethal or lethal, I remember it was like the most quiet one. I can't remember specifically why I was using it. It would age so quickly, so you could only use it for brief periods of time, but I remember using it as my crutch weapon. I also remember thinking the mortar was really cool, but not being able to aim it properly. Golden large geese! New Russian attack game when? We need, the only things that you're allowed to kill are Nazis and Nazi zombies, but I think Russians are back on the list now, considering Call of Duty has featured them as the primary enemy. The biggest problem with having Russia be your primary enemy in your Call of Duty game is they've exposed themselves as having a shit military that can barely invade Ukraine, much less the United States, so... I love AC5 themes, but the concept of pacifism seems innocent. The entirety of Ace Combat is like, yes, we all know you want to go around and fly around in a plane with 8,000 missiles on board and explode everything, but also, you're still the good guy, don't worry. So they have to go through Olympic-level mental gymnastics to justify the shit that you're doing. You're always like, guys, we didn't want to have this war in the first place. It was the Balkans. Rightful Balkan clay. Bombs other side into oblivion. Yes. Also in this case, the other side is probably like an unrelated country. What's the timer for? To go fast. It's not helping, but going forward, I'm always going to have the timer up. I was Googling YouTube videos on like how to draw faster. And I found a Japanese professional manga assistant guy who was giving advice for Clip Studio Paint users, and he was like, to draw faster, you have to draw faster. Was basically the entire video. I was like, thanks, Japanese guy. But he was like, you have to figure out what kind of mental state you're in when you're drawing fast, and then like maintain that mental state going forward. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a fucking clock in the corner to make sure I can actually tell if I'm going fast or not. Obviously, I'm not going very fast right now because I'm fucking streaming, and I can never go fast when I'm streaming. But when I'm drawing my own comic, I can tell when I'm going fast and when I'm not going fast. So. Just waiting for the China overlords to take over with their money or virus. Just waiting for China to invade Taiwan. How many people were saying that Chinese invasion of Taiwan is going to happen in the next 2 years, and that was like 3 years ago? It's a good thing that you guys aren't actually doing a betting market for this shit, because you'd be extremely embarrassed. It's happening Coomers are always trying to tell other people that it's happening or it's going to be happening very soon. And they are very, very rarely right. Most of their it's happening predictions are based on previous cases in the past where it actually did happen. And then they're hoping that will happen again. But just the way life is, stuff doesn't happen very often. When the it's happening predictors, when shit is actually happening, they often, you know, aren't on the bandwagon in time. They might do this year, October, because of election, but I won't bet money on it. Crazier things happen like Ukraine invasion. Well, I actually think that the Chinese Communist Party is pretty competent. So I think they're actually learning the right lessons from the Ukraine invasion and recognizing that it's a huge risk. And they're probably not going to do it unless they feel extremely confident that they can pull it off with minimal disruption, which there's no guarantee. I mean, current China can't even really wrangle their own economic issues, so... Also, I think if Putin could have a redo switch of the whole thing, he would probably be pressing it, so... Reminds how someone posted a pic of a Chinese dam saying that if war ever happened, you could just hit it with a bunker buster and cripple the nation. I mean, a huge part of the Taiwan thing is that unlike Ukraine, it's a fucking naval battle. You need to get to the fucking island. And if there's one thing that we know, it's that navies are extremely expensive and also easily decimated. I don't know, man. If I was Chinese Communist Party, I would just be like pretending like I would invade Taiwan and just, you know, keep it under wraps and not go forward. There's huge risks and not as much payoff as you might think. Tibet will regain independence soon, copium. Yeah, people have been... The Free Tibet fuckers have been going since like the 90s in my childhood. Like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Oh, since we're on politics, I had to meet my... Not had to, I mean I chose to. I met one of my high school friends yesterday. And I forgot how incredibly left-wing my high school was. But she talked to me for about like 30 minutes about how the reason why female and male sports leagues are segregated is because men are afraid of losing to women. And she doesn't watch sports, of course. So I tried for about 20 minutes on our way walking home from the restaurant to try and convince her that as someone who watches sports, this is not a real thing. She is not hot, unfortunately. and she kept on denying it, and that's okay because like it's sort of what I expect because it's a fucking hippie school. But it's just kind of disturbing how people on both sides of the left and the right spectrum can get so far up into their like ideologies that they're willing to just they'd rather ignore reality than just you know, like there's a lot of areas up for debate, but it's just like I just find it actually disturbing how people just fucking choose to willfully ignore information that exists in the world. A women's soccer team lost to 12-year-old boys. Yeah, her argument after I presented all these, you know, very real-life situations in which it's demonstrated time and time again that female athletes cannot compete with male athletes in the same league, except in extremely specific situations. She was like, yeah, but society doesn't encourage women to participate, so if society would stop being so anti-female, there would be more women. So I guess her coping mechanism was believing that there's a huge untapped talent pool of female athletes, that as long as we were positive, they would be able to, you know, suddenly participate. And that just isn't true. And I also tried to explain to her that, you know, there are sports in which are segregated, but they're basically just time-based, like running or swimming, so we can look at the fucking numbers, but, you know, it's completely... It's especially ironic because on the way back we had already agreed about how unbearable Trump voters are and how they're not willing to acknowledge reality. And then you get like the exact same shit except on the opposite side with these types of arguments. Like people would rather just believe what they want to believe instead of, you know, choose to look at what's happening. Surely women can win a non-physical sport like chess, Clueless. That's always the weird thing, right? Like, there's a lot of theories about why women can't compete in non-athletic sports as well against men's leagues. Whether it's like the bell curve distribution of, you know, extremely exceptional individuals, where men have a wider bell curve, or it's just like a interest and not enough women are interested. I mean, in the case of esports, I think you can definitely say that video games are for stinky nerds, and there's not enough women interested in playing Smash for them to be good at Smash, but shit like chess and stuff. Ball was probably holding back. I mean, what's the point, right? So the bell curve that I'm talking about is the one that says that men are basically the more unstable sex. So there's a lot of lower performing men at like the bottom of the bell curve. Like men are like this, and like women are like this. So like for example, BB is like here, and like LeBron is up here, and then most of the women are around here, right? Smash players smell different. Oh, I also saw a study that, a Japanese study that showed that women have way worse mouth smell than men for some reason. Alright, it's time for chill jazz. I have Ace Combat 7 in here. Women's farts are terrifying. I mean, it probably just matters what you're eating, though, right? instead of Chad farts are beloved by all. I'm pretty sure this is not true. Guys, please stop spreading Brap Coomer propaganda in my channel. Dun, 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 dun. It changes when we start our monthly cycle. I'm pretty sure that 90% of fart smell is just dictated by what you're eating. So if you're a guy that doesn't properly eat veggies and all you eat is, you know, Taco Bell all day, it's gonna be bad. And a lot of women have weird diets as well because they're like trying to lose weight. So I think that that makes sense. Oh. 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 I like the part of Ace Combat where the soundtrack is like wah 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 wah, that part. I like the part of Ace Combat where the voice announcer is like missile, 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 missile. It's like, oh man, is a missile coming for me? Crab and eggs is also a bad combo. Doesn't that shit differ from person to person though? Because like I have fart problems when I eat wheat, for example. Ate a seafood omelet yesterday. I think I'm out on seafood as a whole. What's the point of eating seafood if A, it's bad for the environment because everything's going to go extinct, B, it's more expensive, C, half the time it's like weird fishy smell stuff, D, like there's a really high chance of shit going bad, E, it makes you fart weird smells. I don't know, man. Can't we just, like, eat chicken all the time? How about just chicken? Chicken is the most environmentally friendly, cheap, and, it's versatile. You can use it in a lot of different formats. I don't know. I think we should just all eat chicken. I think I've solved our problems. Chicken and beans, although beans are going to make you fart. Depends on the country. In Norway is expensive, for example. Norwegians are cursed to eat fish all the time. The Scandinavian must suffer by eating fermented fish every day. Is that Sweden only that has the infamously bad fermented fish? Or does the other Scandinavian countries also have that as well? Bean Buddy. Beans are too cheap to ignore. They're like... Everything became more expensive in the pandemic, but the beans alone, the beans still are powerful. They're still the same damn price. Stroming. Fermented fish for everyone. Literally have to bury a toxic shark in the sand for 3 weeks just to make it edible. Is that how Stroming works? That's pretty bad, but it's still not as bad as the Japanese blowfish enjoyers who are like, you have to perfectly remove 8 different parts of the blowfish or else you just immediately die. And for some reason, Japanese have figured out how to cut up the blowfish without dying for hundreds of years, which means they probably sacrificed thousands of people to the blowfish eating contest. They're like, let's try removing this part and see if you die. Didn't work. Me, I want to eat fugu. Apparently it's pretty good, but I have no real desire to eat it. A common word to describe fermented foods is slimy, and it's horrible to hear. I mean, the Korean would know, right? Where, like, 70% of the diet is various forms of fermented cabbage and kimchi. I am a big fan of the Korean various kimchi forms. I like the daikon, the radish type kimchi. This is what fugu looks like. Besides cutting up the fish in a way that doesn't murder you, the fugu artisans, they have to be used to cutting it super thin so it's translucent. And you get like this super thin, translucent white plate, and then you put it in like a flower pattern. So like the entire meal is like you're eating a piece of art, and then you dip it in the ponzu here, which is like vinegar-based soy sauce with like your salts and your lime and stuff like that. A few days ago, I ate fermented watermelon. From Apothecary Diaries. It seems fugu poison feels tingly. I'm sure this would be enough to be safe. So, the most poisonous parts of the fugu are its ovaries, and there's parts of Japan that have somehow figured out ways to pickle the ovaries in sugar and stuff to make it edible. And apparently it feels tingly while you're eating it. So they're like, not only are we going to eat the poisonous blowfish, we're going to eat the poisonous part of the poisonous blowfish, which is like the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. Oh god. How to eat fugu sashimi. Wiki how. Eating fugu sashimi safely. The fugu fish produce a deadly toxin. Never try to prepare fugu yourself, only eat if it's been prepared by an experienced chef. This has the same energy as the Wiki How, where it's like how to disarm a terrorist and shit. He's like, yes, know where it's legally available. Look on your laptop and think about going to Japan. Make sure you get the fucking license. Don't eat it if it looks like this. Avoid the most toxic parts of the fish. I like how these people are just like, yes, let me think about the blowfish. Choose the least poisonous species. By the way, they all look the same. Every year there's like 20 Japanese people who die because they're like, I know how to cook fugu myself. It will be fine. Consider a poison-free variety. So if you raise fugu in captivity, you can make them poison-free because they develop their poison by eating poisonous stuff and building up poison in their body. Get immediate medical treatment if you have symptoms of poisoning. Yes, you're about to die. Enjoying your fugu sashimi. It costs you lots of money. Fugu is mild, chewy fish. Some people find fugu sashimi bland. If you typically enjoy more flavorful fish, you might be disappointed with fugu, so consider ordering a small amount when you first try it. Oh my god, it goes on forever. All these, like, weird white people looking at the sashimi and, like, thinking about the poison that's gonna kill them. Consider eating a small amount of poison if you're a daredevil. Some expert chefs purposely leave a trace amount of poison in the fugu when they prepare it. This causes a mild tingling effect in the lips, which many diners enjoy. It may also cause a sense of euphoria. That's right, guys. Eat the fucking poison. That will kill you with like 0.01 milligrams. Does it even taste good? I've never had it. Try it cooked. Try a fugu drink. Jesus fucking Christ. This is all so stupid. Yes, eat the poisonous blowfish, guys. Surely nothing bad will happen to you. Actually, I watch sumo YouTubers, and they talk about stuff that other sumo wrestlers did. And one thing they were talking about was, they were talking about like a sumo wrestler, and they were saying he really loves ponzu, which is the vinegar-based soy sauce that you dip fugu and like other Japanese stuff in. And the sumo wrestler was talking about how this one sumo wrestler guy who loved ponzu, he went to go eat fugu, and he ate like 2 or 3 plates of fugu, and when he got home he collapsed. This was a Russian sumo wrestler, and I was like, oh my god, he got killed by fugu poison. And it's like, no, he got sent to the hospital because he ate too much ponzu. He ate too much salt, basically, because it's soy sauce. So he was like dipping too much fucking fugu in soy sauce and got taken to the hospital, apparently. And I was like, you can do that? It's soy sauce with yuzu and like vinegar mixture, basically. Going to Japan and demanding pork and beef at a restaurant because I don't eat fish. Oh no. I hope you'll be able to find pork and beef in Japan. It will be very difficult. If only there were some Japanese foods that involve pork. Isn't it expensive? Fugu? Fugu is expensive, yes. But if you're a sumo wrestler, you get paid enough that you can waste your money on eating poisonous blowfish, I guess. Everything I've heard about sumo wrestlers on YouTube from their own accounts is that they get paid relatively modestly as a professional athlete go, but they get paid enough that they can basically go and waste all of their money every night on drinking and eating stuff. And because they have to maintain their fat levels, they basically get a green pass to eat and drink way too much. This was more in the 90s and 2000s than today, but apparently they would like just go and fucking party and drink all night and eat shit tons of food. No wonder they all die at 60. Second most unhealthy Japanese profession after professional mangaka. Pork is a bit cheaper. Chicken is obviously cheapest. Yes. Beef is expensive but not ridiculously so. It's like a special occasion food. What are you talking about in Japan? I mean, people eat gyudon for really cheap. It's questionable what percentage of gyudon is actually beef and what percentage is rice. But, yeah. Gyudon is cheap. I mean, they get Australian and American beef, so it's not that bad. If you want Japanese beef, it can get expensive, but I don't really think Japanese beef is that superior. Have you noticed that everything is marketed as Wagyu now? Wagyu means specifically Japanese beef. And I'm 100% sure that most of that shit isn't actually Wagyu Japanese beef. They're just saying it. It's like Americans have realized Japanese food is good and are only gonna eat something if it's like has some sort of weird Japanese name attached to it. They need their wasabi wagyu bento gyudon beef experience with their mochi ice cream and kombucha. And it's being made by like a restaurant that's owned by a Korean, and all the people in the kitchen are Mexican, so yeah. I was told that sumo wrestlers die of health problems at an early age. I think their average age of death is like 63 or so. Marrying them is a chance to turn your life around. Yeah, I don't know how much savings they have, but sumo wrestlers get married very quickly. There's a lot of women who like big, fat, strong men in Japan. And sumo wrestlers are... I don't know if there's a lot of women, but there's not a lot of big, fat, strong men in Japan, whereas there's a large supply in America. So if you're a woman who wants to get, you know, mating pressed by a big, fat, strong guy, then you can't do much better than a sumo wrestler, right? So they're high in demand from a certain specific demographic of women. It's always Koreans. Yeah, it doesn't even seem to be Chinese. The Japanese restaurants in my area are almost exclusively owned by Koreans. I'm sure of it. I know because I've complained about this before, but because if you order katsudon, there's carrots in the katsudon. And I've never seen carrots in a katsudon in any Japanese restaurant. And Koreans have a thing with carrots that Japanese do not. Koreans definitely appreciate carrots more than Japanese, and they have a tendency to want to stick it in a lot of dishes. So I'm sure that if you go to a Japanese restaurant and they have carrots in your katsudon instead of just onions, then that's probably a Korean specialty right there. Where I am, every Asian restaurant is owned by Chinese. Yeah, I hear that like 99% of the Chinese restaurants in America are owned by a very specific location of China, people from a specific province in China, and they don't even cook the cuisine of that area. They cook like a different type of American Chinese cuisine, but like they all come from the same place is what I've heard. Even the beef is relatively cheap for tourists now because of yen's value at the moment. Yeah, basically everything is cheap in Japan right now if you're using dollars. Now would be a good time to travel to Japan if you want to. It's probably not going to stay like this forever, but who knows. People who run the Moonies cult own a huge fishing conglomerate and made sushi popular in the 90s due to marketing. Huh. Interesting. I do remember there was a brief period in the 90s when Americans were like, ooh, sushi, raw fish. Yuck! And now they're like, raw fish, yum, yum, yum. Let me eat my gas station sushi. It's like, what the fuck? I remember my mother would give me nori bento with the seaweed on the rice going to school, and people were like, ew, yuck! He's not eating Lunchables like a proper American. And I can only imagine how I would be much more popular in the year 2024 if I had my nori bento. People were like, oh my god, he's eating Japanese food for lunch. That's so high class and cool. We're all weebs now. Times have changed. If you're not properly watching anime and eating your bento, then you're not fashionable anymore, unfortunately. You have to be a weeb. To be honest, I don't understand why people put nori in bento, because the nori always sucks up the moisture of the rice, and it gets all fucking like nasty and squishy. If you're eating with chopstick, it's not a problem, but a lot of people wrap their rice balls with the nori on top. So the nori, like, it doesn't serve as something that you can hold with your hands at all if you put it as a bento and like try and use it as long-term storage. The nori becomes like a completely unholdable piece of melting black object that you're gonna get all over your fucking hands. So I never understood this shit. This is why if you go to convenience stores in Japan to buy the rice balls, they have this plastic wrapper that's exquisitely set up. So if you, it's the nori is wrapped separately from the fucking rice, and when you open it like you're opening an envelope. There's steps to opening it, so the nori doesn't touch the rice until you open it. It's really well designed. So the nori is nice and crisp and, you know, crinkly like it should be. This is very important. You're not supposed to store it with the nori on it. Yes, but my mother would always do it because she doesn't care about that shit. Sadly. Nori smells like fat girls downstairs. I wouldn't, I don't smell either, so I wouldn't know. Actually, my general opinion is Japanese bento are extremely overrated, and Japanese women shouldn't spend so much time trying to make their cute little bento and shit. It's a waste of time. That's my hot take. Japanese mothers complain about how hard they work, but they most definitely do not have to waste their time cutting these little sausages so they look like small octopus or something. It's wasted labor. Just give your son a fucking box full of rice and salty stuff. Like, you know, pickled plums or some shit. That's good enough. Let women show their love in their own way. Senpai, watashi bento tsukutte kitan desu kedo. Nandatte? Oh shit, I'm sorry. I forgot that you were making bento for me. I ate bento of other girl. Sonna, senpai. Don't worry, I'll eat both bento. And then your Kohai is like, oh yay, I love American Kunu. He's such a fucking fat ass that he eats 2 bentos to show his love. Wow, you're fluent? I'm fluent. I actually am fluent, so yes. Most meaningless use of Japanese knowledge. I think a ribcage is slightly longer, unfortunately, actually. I have to make this longer. This is the magic of digital drawings. You can just elongate this shit pretty easily. This is better. Yeah, more like this. Just eat the entree and toss the rice when she isn't looking? Wow, that's so mean, Hystrixia. How could you do that? It would truly suck if you have a cute Kohai-chan who's like, I stayed up all morning. I woke up at 5 in the morning to make bento for you, and you eat it and it tastes like shit. And then you have to be like, oh, Kohai-chan, I don't know how to say this, but you fucking suck at cooking. And I hope you don't make bento for me ever again. But you have to say that in a nice way, like, Kohai-chan. You're such a bad cook, holy shit. Oh wait, that's not nice. When I'm forced to choose between being honest about how I feel versus letting my Kohai down easily, I'm probably gonna have to choose being honest. I'm sorry, Kohai-chan, but it's not my fault that you're a shit cook. Damn, bitch, you cook like this? At least it's easier if she's like the typical girl of the rom-com who not only can't cook, she can't cook to such a degree that when she gives you bento, it's like a burnt-up mystery object. And your funny friend of the MC is like, wow, that's crazy, let me have a taste. And you're like, no, Takashi, don't do it. And he's like, no, it's fine. And he eats one mouthful of it and then just fucking dies. No, Takashi! The comedy relief is dead. I can't believe he ate Hirorin-chan's bento and now he's fucking dead. What food did you have with the lady yesterday? We went to an Indian place. I ordered butter chicken because there's literally no way to go make butter chicken wrong. It's like going to the Chinese restaurant and ordering General Tso's chicken. It's just like extremely fatty, you know, sauce-drenched food that is gonna taste good on no matter what happens. So I always just like order butter chicken. Did you pay for her? No, we split it. She tried to pay for me, but I'm pretty sure that I have like, you know, like 20 times more money than her in my bank account. So I was like, yeah. I didn't offer to pay for her though. I don't offer to pay for anybody, unfortunately. I'm not trying to fuck her, so, you know, no reason to be nice to her, honestly. Was it a nice time? Not really. I don't get much from socializing with people, honestly. That's why I choose to be alone. But I feel that if I stop socializing altogether, it's kind of like the last straw for me completely losing contact with the rest of humanity. So I try and keep up some amount of appearances instead of going full antisocial hikikomori neat. I thought you were frugal. I am frugal. I haven't eaten out in like a month, actually. The only times I eat out is when I go to McDonald's and use their 20% off coupon so I can eat lunch for like $5. Going Dutch is the way to go. I don't know what going Dutch means. It sounds like some weird sex position, but I'm going to assume it means like splitting the tab or something. Sounds wise. McDonald's is literally the only place where you can eat lunch for less than $10 nowadays. Unless if you're trying to eat out, I guess. If you're just eating at home, then that's easy, so. Dutch means splitting the bill. It sounds like a weird sex position. But yes, I would just split the bill. Or don't even split the bill, just pay for what you ate. That's what I would do. Sleep is the best meal. Based, starving, anon. That's right. Don't eat dinner, guys. Just go to bed hungry. Like you're Harry Potter being abused in the cabinet or something. Realistically, people can probably live with like half the caloric intake that we live with right now if you're like a first world person, so it's actually pretty good advice. It's like, no, I keep on gaining weight. It's like, just eat less, fat fuck. You can survive on just like beans and rice alone easily if you would just stop eating all the time. I rarely ever like letting the guy pay for me because I don't like them having anything over me. I'll only pay for your meal if I'm desperately trying to have sex with you, which is never, so I'm never paying for anybody's meal. End of story. Also, if you order something that's more expensive than me, then I'm also not paying for your meal, even if I'm trying to have sex with you. And I'm ordering the cheapest thing on the menu. Maybe she was trying to have sex with you, though? What, are you talking about my friend that I met last night? Thankfully she wasn't. Also, I'm not attracted to her. Also, she was talking about how she was officially a lesbian now. Sometimes she still has sex with men, but now it's almost always women. And I was like, that's nice, honey. Don't care. Again, went to a hippie school. These guys are all sexual deviants at this point. Baal and his lesbians? Yeah. Again, this was a school where like half the people were either raised as Steiner children since elementary, or they got kicked out of the normal school system because they were like drug addicts or had mental issues. So, not surprisingly, a good percentage of them are unstable. Guess which one Ball came from? Yeah. I'm way too skeptical. See, I don't think you people understand how crazy Rudolf Steiner is until you actually read the writings of Rudolf Steiner. Let's see if we can see the Wikipedia page on it. He was an Austrian occultist. That's what the official Wikipedia page is. It's always good to go to a school system that was founded by a fucking occultist. A character class in Darkest Dungeon, of all things. And claimed clairvoyant. He attempted to find a synthesis between science and spirituality. In the second phase, beginning about 1907, he began working collaboratively in a variety of artistic media, including drama, dance, and architecture, culminating in the building of the Geogotheneum, a cultural center to house all arts. I think I learned about that. He advocated for a form of ethical individualism. Thinking is no more and no less an organ of perception than the eye or ear. Just as the eye perceives colors and the ear sounds, so thinking perceives ideas. Thank you. Yeah, there was like one book by him in the school, and I read it, and I was like, this guy is fucking batshit crazy. Put the thigh highs even higher. Yeah, let me look at the reference image, actually, of 2B. I think they should be higher. Yeah, I think you're right. They might be. They might be slightly higher. It's like one hand's width next to the crotch, I guess. Ball went to a cursed school. Nice. Yeah, it really was cursed. Does this qualify as Zettai Ryoiki? Zettai Ryoiki only occurs if there's a skirt. So just having thigh highs doesn't count as Zettai Ryoiki. As a professional thigh high enjoyer, you have to have the skirt. In fact, Zettai Ryoiki isn't even the thighs. It's the space between the thighs and the skirt. Let me explain. Skirt. It's right here. This area right here. It's not the thighs or the skirt. It's the skin in between the thighs and the skirt. Therefore, it only applies when there's a skirt. This is standard knowledge. It's actually disgraceful that someone in this stream wouldn't understand such a basic concept. It really shows our education system has failed us. It screams, grab me. I don't know. For me, it screams like, please commit tasteful slow, tasteful, considerate train molestation zone is what I call it. Do you enjoy skin dentation? No, because it's a pain in the ass to draw, and when I do draw it, people are like, no, you did the skin dentation wrong. Unfortunately, the Coomers that I draw for care about skin dentation more than me, so it becomes a real pain in the ass. I like Ivy as a character of Soul Calibur, but she is just like an absolute fucking nightmare to draw because she's like skin dentation the character. Oh my god, she's such a pain in the ass to draw. Grab me but gently, yes. It's okay if you're an Ikemen. I said I was watching shoujo recently, and the shoujo I was watching actually starts with Ikemen patting her head on a fucking train that she met the first time she met him, and he fucking pats her head on a train. I'm just like, it truly is a world where as long as you're an Ikemen, you can like fucking touch girls whenever you want to, and they'll be like, "Ooh, this Ikemen-san is it seems like he has no personal physical boundaries. Why is he touching me, kya?" Like that. Instead of, Mr. Policeman, I've just been raped. Please arrest this guy. Coomer's gonna coom. It is the equivalent of men being like, no, please, hot woman, don't abduct me and torture my cock and balls. Please. That would be horrible, haha. Do you ever draw a very rough sketch layer first, or do you always work like this? I do a storyboard when I'm doing manga. I mean, I did draw a rough sketch layer, see? I just erased it, because it's, like, it doesn't matter if you do a sketch layer or not, if you're drawing digitally, because you can just erase everything, or do it on a new layer, or whatever. I would most definitely have to do sketch layers if I was, drawing with pen and ink. But I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna fuck up, you know? Pull out the light board? Yeah. You don't really need a light board either. That's another expensive thing that they want you to buy. You can just hold your paper up to the light of your room and look at it that way. I want the boot to be more pointed, but not that way. This looks better. Drawing in analog sucked, honestly. I don't want to go back. Unless it's something like oil painting where I can just paint over. Pokey nips. Nips should always be pokey, I guess. Also, I have a tendency to draw the boobs too far up. The boobs should start like right under the armpit and then hang down from there. So even if she's wearing a bra that kind of pulls the boobs up, it shouldn't go too far up. But I don't like saggy tits, so I tend to overcompensate and make them too high up on the chest. Ugh. Is there a particular reason why there's a clock running? To make myself draw faster. It's not going to help on this stream. But going forward, I'm going to always time my drawing speed to see if I'm being productive or not, so I don't just sort of dilly-dally. It's not going to be particularly helpful when I'm streaming because I can't really focus and I'm always going to be slow. But when I'm off stream, I can try and go for speed and like be more productive. Fake tit coomers in shambles. I don't understand people who like fake tits so much. It's just a really weird thing to like. His hands are not yaoi hands, thankfully. I wish I had yaoi hands. It would be helpful because I could palm a basketball. It's actually really helpful to have bigger hands. There's not many benefits to having smaller hands. I have average size hands, I guess, but they're slightly small, so I don't have the giga powerful yaoi hands. I wish I had like terrifying skeletal creature hands that will wrap around your throat. That's like the ideal body type for me. I also wish I had a second opposable thumb, like the alien xenomorphs. That would also be helpful. People think humans have reached a good level in evolution, but have we really reached evolved properly when we only have one thumb? I think it would be cool if we had two thumbs. One on the opposite side of the hand. Why haven't we evolved that way yet? We need to get like someone who has a weird genetic deformation, have like a huge evolutionary advantage and have them like have sex a bunch so we get more people with, you know, a second opposable thumb. What's this about wrapping around a throat? Yeah. Women don't ask to be choked while having sex challenge. Difficulty impossible. I remember as a teenager, one of the first like men's magazines I read was probably like Maxim or something. In like the Ask Questions column, there was some guy being like, my girlfriend keeps on begging for me to choke her. Should I do it for her? And the answer was like, no. Choking is dangerous. And if you do it wrong, she might end up in the hospital and then you'll be liable. Just because your girlfriend really, really wants you to choke her, don't do it. And I was like, huh. Is this a common problem among men with girlfriends? And the answer is yes. My brother had two pinkies until the doctor cut off one of them. But think how helpful it could have been if you became Yakuza and you're like, no, I have failed, Oyaji. I will take responsibility by cutting off my pinky And like the other Yakuza are like, dude, that's not fair. He has a second life. He has like double the amount of mistakes he can make thanks to his auxiliary pinkies. Men's Magazine, Ask Questions, Gotcha Approved. It was a time when we didn't have the internet, so if you wanted to jack off and you were like still in your teenager years, you had to find non-porn but female displaying magazines like the Sears catalog. Luckily, I was extremely horny, so it didn't stop me from cooming. You don't know what it's like. Everything is heightened in terms of sensation. Are you talking about when you're fucking getting choked? That's because your body is dying, dude. It's just like, haha, only a little bit of choking. Like, you might be having fun, but if you die, then your boyfriend is in big trouble, so... Imagine not depriving your brain from oxygen. Yeah. Reminder that... Remember the guy who was in Kill Bill? The TV actor of Kung Fu? And he was discovered after he had quote-unquote committed suicide when he was in like Singapore or something. And like, if you actually read the police notes, it was probably like 99% he was jacking off while choking himself, and he failed to not die. But people are like, yeah, it was definitely suicide. He had a hard life. It's like, yeah, no, he was jacking off. BB cares about the well-being of his sexual partners. Very wholesome. I only care about not going to prison. Yeah, David Carradine, I believe was his name. Turns out hanging yourself just so you can come harder is a bad idea. Who would have thought? Autoerotic asphyxiation sounds like spontaneous combustion. Yeah, it's like the drummer of Spinal Tap. He died from autoerotic asphyxiation suddenly. Imagine killing yourself and everyone thinks you died masturbating. Well, if you hang yourself on a doorknob, then yeah, they're probably gonna assume that you were just like jacking off. If you're gonna die suicide-wise, and you're gonna try and hang yourself, like do it from the ceiling or something. Don't do it from a doorknob, where people are gonna be like, "Ooh, yeah, he was just masturbating on that one." That's a masturbation failure, guys. Spontaneous combustion is metal as fuck. I remember the time I spontaneously combusted. It was hardcore. Man, 2B's leotard really is high cut. I'm gonna have to do this off stream. I'm being too distracted to properly feel the form of the thighs and stuff. Like, I'm not understanding the three-dimensionality. It's like this, something like this. David Carradine, least drunk actor on set award. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream here so I can properly focus on Ruby's exposed naked body. Her high-cut leotard body. Oh, and then I'm going to play more Dragon's Dogma. Oh! See you around, chat! Good night!